Hi, my name is Tone Tellefsen Hughes, and I'm a chiropractor, and I'm also the co-founder of the Green Hub Project for Teens, which is in Milford. And my presentation today is to all of you, and it's about if nature can influence our mood. And I want to share with you some of the scientific information and data that we have about nature and how that can affect us, our well-being, basically. So I got involved in working with teens. I've been a chiropractic, um, a pediatric chiropractor for 32 years. I've been working with babies, children, toddlers, and teens. I work with a lot of teenagers at the moment for the GCSE and the A levels to just release some of the tension and the stress that you get when you're revising. And I've been running workshops since 2015, talked to well over 2,500 teens in schools. And in 2021, we started something called the Green Hub, where we offer um, nature therapy for teenagers who are struggling with stress. And I love nature. So I spend a lot of time in nature, probably at least 8 to 10 hours a week I spend in nature in some way or another, exercising or swimming in the river. So would you like to improve your focus and concentration? Would that be something that would be of interest to you? Would you like to have more motivation for learning and for life? Would you like to get fitter? Would you like to improve your confidence? And would you like to work on your self-belief? Well, why not bring nature into your life? Because doing things in nature, with nature, can really do all of these things, believe it or not. So it started with a forgotten garden and a little crazy idea for myself. So this walled secret garden is behind my practice in Milford, and I had the opportunity to take this over like this in 2019. And an idea started forming in my head that maybe I could offer this to young people who are struggling with stress, depression, anxiety, and come and do and build this garden up from scratch. But it took us sort of another 2 years to really get an organization together and the right volunteers and the right sort of drivers to make this happen. But we went at it and we worked and worked, and we had the lockdown in between, and then the need for this became even more. So it looks a little bit like this now. We now have a greenhouse. We have loads and loads of raised beds. We have expanded all the beds as well. We have a labyrinth, a walk-in labyrinth, which is really cool. And we have probably over 60 volunteers all working with the Green Hub now in the last 2 years. So we are a registered charity since very recently, and we welcome young people from 11 to 18 to come and do gardening at the Green Hub. And it's if you're struggling with stress, anxiety, social anxiety, overwhelmed, any sort of form that's causing you stress and anxiety, you're welcome to come and join us. You need to apply to our website, and you can join us for 12 weeks. And it's so simple. You're literally in this beautiful space for once an hour, for an hour and a half, for 12 weeks, and you plant and you sow and you see things grow, and you might be digging and so on, and it makes a difference. So the results are simply amazing. People come for all these issues that we mentioned, but they report they're feeling so much better in their mental health and emotional well-being after 12 weeks. Some stay and become senior volunteers, and everybody are volunteers and they get a certificate. And our statistics that we run each time show that you get a 31% increase in well-being from each session. And there is no medication that can do this. Other students have found that they get confidence to now go out and get a job, or just start to talk to more people, or do things that they really didn't believe they could before. And it's amazing that nature can do this. The evidence, it shows that immersing people in nature can promote physical activity. So get you up and going and move your body. It can encourage social activity and social interactions, and provide a sense of purpose and meaning. It can reduce depression and anxiety and promote recovery from stress. And it can help people to develop social relationships. So all the things I mentioned in the beginning can happen when you're spending time in nature. And it's an effective distraction from everyday stressors and demands. And this is one of our specialists who works with us. She is a professor of environmental psychology at Surrey University, Birgitta Gattersleben, and she does lots of research into this. So I'm going to share with you 7 things that can increase your mood when you do gardening and when you're in nature. So obviously when you do gardening, you are in nature, and we're going to talk about the science behind that, being active and moving your body, hands in the soil, how can that be helpful for your mood and well-being? Working in a small group, how can that be helpful for your emotional well-being? Belonging and connecting, purpose by volunteering, and what does the color green and how does that affect your mood? So number 1, we have something called the calming effect of fractal patterns in nature. So all of you who've done maths or maths at some point, you know that fractal patterns, that's basically a repeated symmetrical pattern. And you find those in nature everywhere. So in leaves, in flowers, in bushes, and wherever you are when you're walking in nature, you will see this. And this has been found that this has a calming effect on our minds. So literally spending time out in nature, seeing this with your eyes can give you a calming sense to your mind. So if you're feeling wound up and stressed, go out and take a walk and look at what's going on and spend time just looking at various fractal patterns, and that can help you feeling calmer. So what I would like you to do is to take a moment, get a pen and paper, think of the last fractal pattern you saw in nature. And I want you to write down what that is. And next time, stop and pause, as this is even more effect on calming your brain and your nervous system. And this is generally a thing that when you're out in nature and you see something that's really beautiful or stunning, if you stop and take it in and really, really take this in, it's been found that actually it can reduce inflammatory markers in our body. I mean, who knew that nature could have such an effect on us? So Shinrin Yoku, some of you might have heard about this. That's Japanese, and it's called the forest bath effect. It was coined some years ago because the Japanese government wanted people to get out into nature more and not spend so much time indoors. And what they found from all the studies was that number 1, trees and the leaves from trees will emit an aromatic substance or a compound that actually has a positive effect on our well-being. It's also found that forest bathing, that means going out into the forest and just look at everything around you and pay attention to what's there. It can reduce your blood pressure. It can reduce stress-related hormones, which usually is cortisol. Anxiety, it can reduce depression, anger, confusion, and fatigue. I mean, literally, it's just incredible that nature can have that effect for us. And it can also boost your immune system and improve your overall feeling of well-being. So just get out there into the woods, just stroll around, put your phone on silent and just hang out in the woods, and you can get all these effects. Being active and moving your body, physical exercise has proven that it releases happy hormones, i.e. our endorphins. They can really have an effect on our mood. We also know that being active and physically active helps everything. Stronger heart, lung function, fitter and stronger body, and actually strengthens our resilience. And when you're out and doing gardening and doing physical activities in nature, you're getting all these benefits. Number 3, this is a little known new research that's shown that in our soil, there is a bacteria that when you work with it, you will ingest it through your alimentary system, and it will go into your stomach, and there it will help to stimulate serotonin. And we know that serotonin is a hormone that helps to regulate your mood. So how about that? Get that naturally through being out there and just digging in your vegetable patch or digging in the garden can actually, in that case, create more serotonin. So your own happy hormones, happy cocktail. So a reflection, pen and paper again, please, if you can write down How could you add nature into your day? Could you walk a little bit further when you get to school? Could you park the car further away if you're driving? Or to work? Could you do more exercises outside in nature rather than inside? I decided 5 years ago that I wanted to spend more time in nature. We got a dog. We now spend 8 to 10 hours a week outside. And I also swim outside in the river. Cold water immersion is amazing, but you're also outside at the same time. So I'd like you to write down a few things that you feel that you could do. Pause this slide for a moment so everybody can do this. And then I want you to share it with either the person sitting next to you or someone that you can share it with. Make sure you share what you want to do, because then that you're more likely to actually go ahead and commit to it. Okay, welcome back. So working with others in small groups, in some ways, in whatever you're doing, working with others is teamwork. It's a really important part of life. And when you are at work, teamwork is essential. So learning to do teamwork is really, really important. When you're working in our garden, you're working with small people. When you're volunteering with people, you're working with others. And it's really helpful to be in a group of people that is small and doing things together, because it's helpful if you're shy or introvert. If you have social anxiety, it's easier than if you're in a big group. You can get much better quality of conversations, and it's also easier for you to listen to others. It's calmer, less noisy, and less hectic. So that's what people are reflected for us in this garden, in our Green Hub garden, that they just find it much, much easier because we're never more than 8. So that's something to think about. So a reflection on this. So if you can get pen and paper out again, could you do more study groups outside if you are in an education right now? If you're working, could you do meetings outside? Could you do walk and talk meetings or walk and talk study groups? It's been found that when you're out in nature and walking, you actually get more creative ideas. You're much more thinking out of the box. Just sitting outside and running a workshop, and then making sure, or a meeting, that you change um, environments when you do this regularly, because the brain will wake up when you have a new idea. So I want you to pause the slide now for a few minutes and write down a few ideas that you can think of that you can implement, because we can sit out for a long time of the year, and you can always put on a coat if it's colder, or a hat or a jacket and so on. But it make a massive difference how you take in information and also how you feel afterwards. I now, just to say, changed my work. So I bring my dog to work and I have a long lunch break. And that's part of my life now, that I have a long lunch break. So my dog and I can go into the woods on the lunch. And I come back and I'm ready. My brain's primed and prepped for working with my patients. Right, welcome back. So belonging and connecting with others. This is a really important part, which is also very important when you're working in groups in nature. But in life, this is very, very important. We are flock animals. And if you spend all your time in a room on your own, you are taking away your primal reason for being, and that is to be with other people. The volunteering actually releases good dopamine. Now, the good dopamine is the dopamine that you get into your bloodstream that lasts and give you a longer boost. The short dopamine is the one that you get from a ping on your phone or your computer, or if you buy something online. It's a quick, short dopamine, and they don't last. It's crash and burn. Whereas long dopamine is when you do something with effort, and could be gardening or anything that requires effort, but also volunteering. When you volunteer, you also meet new people. You can make new friends. This can make you feel less stressed and calmer, and more confident. And it's also found that volunteering can actually improve your immune system. Who would have known? So reflection here again. Pen and paper, please. How could you bring volunteering into your life? Is there a community organization near you that actually does volunteering? Could you help a neighbor with their gardening? Could you do some sports volunteering? A lot of you have done DOV, and maybe could you volunteer at Scouts, nature projects, and so on. I want you to write down and commit to, could you do some volunteering, and what could that be? And I bet you, and I promise you that if you take part in a volunteering, you will feel better with it and afterwards. So if you can stop here, take a few moments to do this, that would be amazing. Okay, so number 5, back with volunteering again. Belonging and connecting is really powerful tool to make you feel better. And these are just some of the people that we got together in the summer of 21 to help us build our raised beds, a pergola, and a big area in the garden so we could then welcome the teenagers to the Green Hub Garden. And everybody walked away feeling just really happy, having full of purpose, having done something with a meaning. So purpose. What's the deal about purpose? Well, when you volunteer, you get a stronger sense of purpose, and this gives you stronger meaning in life. When you don't have a purpose, it's kind of aimless. Purpose will help you to be emotionally healthier. It can reduce stress and anger. And no meditation can actually do this without any side effects. But being in nature, doing gardening, doing volunteering can all do that. And by the way, these photographs are all taken by one of our volunteers who became our photographer and who just took the most amazing photographs. So what about the color green? Well, the color green color is a wavelength, and it's been found that this wavelength has an effect which is grounding and calming on our senses, and our moods and our minds. So being out in nature, seeing green can have a calming effect on your mind and body. When I moved to England 30 years ago, and I didn't know very many people, I would go out into what I would call my magic piece of woodland near my house, and I would always come back feeling refreshed and positive. I would have always come back with new ideas, and since then I've always been walking in nature, especially if I'm stuck and I need new ideas for my work as a chiropractor and my work with my charity. And I think it's incredible that nature has all of these benefits for us. It's just there for the taking. So what if you don't have nature near you? What if you don't have a garden? What if you don't, have a garden near you? Well, bring it to you. Start to grow something on your windowsill. What has been found that when you care about something other than yourself, it actually will take you out of yourself and it will help you feel better about yourself. Try tomatoes. But also find a nearby park and just sit there for 20 minutes. Brigitte Gattersleb's research have found that sitting in a park for 20 minutes has been really effective in increasing people's mood. But bring someone else along because they found that if you sat there with someone else and chatted, it increased your sense of well-being afterwards. And then we can come back to the science. Andy Huberman, who has the most popular, amazing podcast called the Huberman Lab, it does a lot of work and a lot of research on natural sunlight. And the scientists have found that if you bring sunlight into your eyes at the first thing in the morning for at least 10 minutes, it sets you up in a mood that will set you up for that mood for the rest of your day. I mean, again, what could be more effective and cheap and powerful than just 10 minutes of natural sunlight in the morning? Could be on your way working to work or to college. So why not challenge yourself and download this app called 1,000 Hours Outside? It's only £2.50, which I think would be less than a coffee. And it has a hashtag called 1,000 Hours Outside. What has been found that if you want to change a habit, you need to be committed to yourself and ideally to others. And if you use something like an app, you can then record every day. How many hours was I outside? How many minutes was I outside? And the idea is to try and get 1,000 hours a year. So try to do this. And now my call to action with you is to do a social media challenge. You're all experts on this. So what I would like you to do is to share on your social media platform what you've got out of this session, what you're committing to do yourself with nature. And I just go on to whatever platform that you use, and I want you to use the hashtag 1,000 Hours Outside, but we have to make our own so we can track it, and it will be hashtag 1,000 Outside. And if you can add this to your social media post, then we can track it. I'm going to share it to as many places as I can, and I want you all to share it. Now, I have another thing I want you to think about. There are a number of people who are unable to go to school since the pandemic because of social anxiety, and we don't know the number. They are in every level of school. I want you to think about these people, and I want you to share this with them and tell them, and maybe commit. If you have a friend who are in this situation, contact them and say, can we do this challenge together? Can you download this app? Can we do this challenge so we can go and be outside and try and accrue 1,000 hours in a year? So you're both doing things. You're doing a kind things for someone else, and you're sharing. And the more people will know this, the more people go outside, the more will have the benefit that we've talked about. So I want the teachers, if you and whoever is in control of this, to pause this where everybody shares on the social media. You can bring your phone out, it's absolutely fine. You might have to take it away later. Share this and let's make a massive impact in a really positive way for nature. Okay, so I hope that you've all shared the social media post and done the hashtags and shared it with someone that you know could really do with getting out into nature. I love you to welcome you to go to our website called greenhub.org.uk. We have lots of information there. We have a YouTube page. We have, if you want to come and do volunteering in a garden, if you're struggling from stress or overwhelmed, please join us there. We also do workshops and so on. So, there's lots and lots of information on this website.